Next batter. The on deck circle.
So if you can't get audio out of HDMI, we'll just use the onboard PC.
Good group, and I saw at least one Raspberry Pi in the audience there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it was battery powered or not, but we'll.
Oh, you missed Brendan's presentation.
I did. I'm sorry, I did.
Those were the low-end Raspberry Pis. That was the.
Oh, good. Oh, C# stuff. That's cool. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Well, that's good because I don't plan to cover that. But if I duplicate stuff, let me know, and I'll change. Okay. Ready to roll? Jerry, John?
Jerry, you want to introduce Ray?
Yeah. Okay, Brian's going to give a bit of. Anybody know Brian DeLacy? He's going to give our presentation today on Raspberry Pi 4 and stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anything else you want to talk about?
Anything else?
Blueberry Pi,
It's gonna be
Apple Pi.
a lot of demos.
We get demo stuff. Actually, we're going to do. I'm going to do something a little different this time. Two things different this time, actually. But anyways, finish.
Yeah, you go ahead. Say what you're going to do.
But so my thought was that. So first of all, how many people have a Raspberry Pi of any sort? Okay, and how many people have actually the Raspberry Pi 4 at this point? So a couple. How many people have the Zero? Raspberry Pi 0? Okay, a number. That's good. Okay, so how many people have seen a video, sort of introduction overview of the Raspberry Pi 4 at this point? Okay, a couple, not a lot. So sort of in the course of doing things, what I'll do is basically I was doing some background research. I got a bunch of Raspberry Pis here. By the way, there'll be various anecdotal, distracting kinds of ADD types of what does this have to do with anything? But 3 guesses where I got this extension cord.
Christmas store?
What's that? Yeah. So Walmart. This is the prices right now. So over $10, over $5, or under $5.
Under
You bought it after Christmas.
So my advice to you, basically these, it's I think like a 20 amp wire. They're usually about $1 a foot, I think, roughly, right? Because I'm coffee shop and stuff like that.
It's only 20 amp. It's one of the things that's at 90 degrees.
So maybe it's 15, maybe it's 10 and a half. But anyways, it's not it's not 15 watts.
Yeah, the actual current rating depends on how long the cord is and the thickness of the wire.
Gotcha. But the other thing is you can use it as a jump rope, which I'll do at the end of the year. Anyways, it was $2.99 at Walmart, and you're right, it was after the holidays. So my advice would be to be on the lookout for it in the clearance aisle. Okay, so we may need power, and although not much of it, but we'll just talk it through as we go. Another thing, so there are 2 things really that to close on that thought. I figure what's the best way to basically introduce people to, and there are some questions I know, John's raised some questions, there's some things floating out there around the USBC stuff and about the heat and about a few other things. So there are 2 very good videos on YouTube which I found, and there's like no way I could do better than them. And so I'm going to do a little bit of a different classroom spin. I've done a little bit of stuff in classrooms in the past. Sometimes some of the best stuff that was done was actually done on video. So my plan is to actually show the YouTube videos, cross my fingers and hope that it works. Because these 2 different people really go in pretty good depth into the heat aspects of things and also the power aspects of things. And then I can talk through some other things where, another question is, the USB-C problem. Do people know about the USB-C problem, basically, which is that, so not many do, which is interesting.
Which USB-C?
So on the Raspberry Pi 4, one of the glitches in the release of it was that, they converted the power connector to be USB-C, bless you. And because USB-C is, it seems that like there are as many flavors of USB-C as there were, what was that ice cream place that was 33 flavors?
Oh, yeah.
Baskin Robbins, there we go, right. if you're from Boston, Baskin Robbins. But anyways, and so one of the things that the Raspberry Pi Foundation basically said was, oops, we when people said, they left the resistor off, or they did. I don't actually know what the technical glitch is, but I know enough to know, and this person had a pretty good insight, which is that they had the foresight to actually produce and manufacture their own power supply in advance, which you can get for $9 at...
What's the biggest complaint about it?
What's the biggest complaint?
That power supply.
Oh, well,
Required.
it does require a power supply. Well, it doesn't actually. So some people have had experience. Basically, the gist of what we'll see in the video is that if you get a power whatever that goes up to about 1.8 amps, the thing will run. These power supplies are 3 amps, and they sort of, so if you want to fully load something with cameras and attachments and drives, and then you really do start to push up to the 3 amp limit. But I guess technically it really should run through USB-C if you had it plugged into a sufficiently powerful, sort of base.
Right, except that it doesn't correctly negotiate for decreasing power, and that's why it mostly doesn't work with USB-C power supplies.
Yeah. So one, it's a good point. So one thing is the power supplies. Another thing are the cables. Not all cables are created equal. For those of us who really don't like cables, some cables work, some don't. It turns out apparently some of the cheaper ones actually work better, but you may have other issues with that. But to cut to the chase on the USB-C stuff, there's nothing that at least I've heard reported that has anything to do with like data corruption or other things that might be going out over USB ports. So what we'll do is we'll sort of assess, so two things that are a little bit different. One is to show the videos, and I think they're very good. The first one really focuses on the heat issues and just the usability. What might you use this new device for? I have a couple 1 gigs, a couple of 2 gigs. I don't have any 4 gigs, but they're floating around now. The ones I think are 35. The 2 gig units are 45, and I think the 4 gigs are 55.
Yeah.
And 55. And some people have, they're floating around the internet. Someplace you can buy them. And I think Seed Studio is the last place I saw it where they'll ship them for free on orders over $75. And Adafruit was talking about getting some in, although I'm not sure what the memory form factor is. But so the first video will talk about sort of the usability of the device and what you might use it for. And the second video really goes into some of the technical aspects of the new memory. So there are two things with the memory. One is there's a lot more of it. So what was the last one? It was like 512 or
gigabyte. The 3 had a gig. The Raspberry Pi 3 had a gigabyte.
Did it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it had so over time, anyways, it's gone from like 256 right up to
Yeah, the very first model 1 had 256, which was later upgraded
Right.
to 512.
Right. So then I think the other thing that has changed, in addition to having the more flavors of memory in terms of 1, 2, and 4, the speed actually is very different. It's like 3 times as fast on the speed of the memory. The RAM is like 3 times as fast, and the video kind of goes into explaining it, and folks here will know more than I do about that. So another element, this is kind of a general overview of what's new and what's interesting. If you have any questions, let me know. The idea will be we'll run a video, have a little dialogue, run the second video, have a little dialogue, and then we'll dive into some hands-on. So, and the second thing that I like to try to be a little different, not sure how this is going to work out, but so I have a couple of, as we unpack these things, this is, partly inspired by Kurt and Kurt's various racks of miscellaneous items. So this is, out of the light and out of the darkness and into the light. So this, it's just a $20 rack or whatever. The one on the bottom is the Raspberry Pi 4. You can tell it's pretty easy because of the blue USB 3 connectors on it. So it's got 4 USBs, 2 of which are USB 3. The Ethernet connection is full gigabit, true gigabit, not funneled through the what was it, the USB chip or something like that it was doing double duty on. The videos will go into that a little bit, but people have measured it and it's true gigabit. The GPIO is basically the same. Another big difference is, these on the top, another way you can quickly tell the difference apart from the blue, which is probably the easiest, is that Well, that's interesting. I didn't actually notice that. The GPIO are on opposite sides from what they used to be, which is kind of interesting. So if you look, well, also the Ethernet's on opposite. So there's a little bit of board layout stuff that has changed. Yeah, of course.
I thought the new one had USB-C, not USB-3.
So it's got USB-C, which is the little thing that you power.
For power,
For
okay.
power,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And which I don't know if you actually can use for data, so I may have misspoken on that. And then it's got USB 3 for the full size. I'm not sure what the form factor is, but you know the standard USB interface.
Yeah, the USB-A. Two of them are 3.0, and the other two are still USB.
Right. And I have no clue if it's on the go or not on the go or on the run or.
It depends on the particular device, but there is the potential to have a device with a single USB-C connector which loads, which it both powers the device with up to 100 watts, and is a display output, and is a USB 3 port all at the same time.
Which sort of requires a dock.
What?
It sort of requires a thing,
Yes,
multi-points everything.
Yes, we need something to do multiple.
We used to know those docks.
Or dongles.
So does it, so when you said it has to negotiate, is it sending a UID that says I can?
Yeah, USB power delivery has a negotiation protocol where initially you're only allowed to provide half an amp support, and then the device asks for more power, and the power supply gives it to it. Yeah.
Everything now is an active. There's like actually a microcontroller that has to do everything.
There are also active USB-C cables, and those specifically don't work with PI for powering it.
So this is electronic
Yeah,
circuit.
because they got something wrong.
It's looking to see if this is 12 gauge cable or 10 gauge. Is it at that level?
That sort of thing.
It's sort of, yeah, I mean, there's a microcontroller that says on either side, it has to say, I need this, this, and this, and then the other guy will say, well, I can give you this, this, and this. And so you start off at the standard, like 5 volts, 500 milliamps is the base USB spec. And then there's, when you connect, that's what you have. And then each side will negotiate and say, okay, I'm like a laptop and I need 65 watts, and I need it at 18 volts. Then the other side will say, yes, I'm a power brick that can give you that. And then that's what happens. Otherwise, you're stuck at the standard 5 volts.
So for the broken models that don't do that correctly, can you handle that in software?
You don't even need to handle it in software, you just need to use a dumb USB cable that doesn't have the current sensing magic in it.